Did everyone get my
Grandma's. You go get a couple of chairs.
The guy's tired of doing it. I'm tired of the same answer.
Did everyone have these copies for the resolutions?
Somewhere.
I thought I put them in everybody's box and give to them.
We've got two.
Does the guy?
Somebody get a business from Rick. We've got two. Okay.
The metal's really pretty good at it. Pretty much. 8 decals off of her. Interior's pretty decent.
What more you want? Okay. There's several people in the parking lot.
Too hot to stand.
I can add it much more.
Yeah. I left the doors open for about
Now the insurance company.
Thank you.
Let's see if we can show him how that works.
I can take too much energy in the heat.
Hey, I'm a little closer to the fan.
It is okay to open the windows, right?
Don't forget to close it. Although, no, I started dating. Although, it's hot as it is outside, you know.
Bobcats, we Bob. 8 weeks old, and he gets a terrible swallow. I had 5 Band-Aids on before I took a shower. I was come on.
I didn't want, I got a bad.
No, he's all old now. Now my old dad,
Hey guys.
girl camp. Today they're gonna my back both feet. They were just running, scared of each other. Be covered in that.
Yeah, I went for Steve.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. John Claude.
Here.
Rick Robinson,
Here.
Amanda Hunter,
Here.
Joan David. Here. Nancy Conley, all present and accounted for.
Okay, next is approval of the agenda. I'd like to add new business, number 2, signs. And in reports, I want to add parks and cemetery.
So signs for parks and cemetery? So-
Signs for number 2, and then under reports, add cemetery and parks.
Okay. And then I would like to add, the resolutions for the credit card policy and the over-under policy under new business, so 3 and 4.
I'm sorry, Amanda, what was it for?
The over-under policy, so resolution for the credit card policy would be 3, and resolution for the over-under policy is 4.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept the agenda with the stated additions.
I'll
Second.
support.
Okay, motion by David, supported by Hunter to approve the agenda with the aforementioned additions. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried 5-0. Approval of the minutes.
There were some changes that needed to be made from the original draft. So those changes were that in the last paragraph on the first page, it needed to reflect, so what it should read is, Amanda Hunter presented a bill, check 14519, made out to Joan David for expenses which included an amount for a Newfield Township debit card bill that had been paid. Joan stated that the receipt had been given to the clerk for her records, and the clerk had mistakenly added it to Joan's expense sheet. Nancy Clerk admitted to the mistake and apologized for the mistake. She said she would correct it. Amanda made the motion to adjust the check number 14519 minus the amount for the debit card expense for a total of $198.93. Robertson seconded it. A roll call vote was taken as follows: Rick Robertson, yes; John Clark, yes; Amanda Hunter, yes; Nancy Conley, yes; and Joan David, yes. The motion carried. So that's the first one. The second one was that some of the correspondence was out of order, so we just swapped the order. The election amount for the May election was stated at the last meeting, and that was not in here. So election info, total price of recall election was $4,764.87 was added as the last item under correspondence. Under new business, I'm trying to see what page it's on. Second page at the very bottom, it says, it should read, Joan made a motion to appoint Brian Suckup to the Planning Commission to fill the spot vacated by Jan Wilson. Rick seconded it. Discussion followed. Joan reminded everyone that the supervisor appoints to the opening, and it is presented to the board to be voted on. A roll call vote followed. John Clark, no. Rick Robertson, yes. Amanda Hunter, no. Joan David, yes. Nancy Conley, yes. The motion carried 3-2. Further down, where we were looking to hire an office assistant, that last line should read, after discussion, Joan motioned to table it, Rick seconded it. No vote. It says no vote on it, because we didn't vote on it. Then the last one of, no, there's 2 more changes. The last paragraph under new business should read, Joe motioned and Amanda seconded about a signage needed on Zimmer Road and 176th Avenue, and Hightower Lake Road. Joe made a motion to purchase 4 signs for Zimmer and 176 pertaining to drivers being aware of autistic children in the neighborhood. The motion carried. Joe made a motion for a sign for Hightower Park with hours stating 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and no overnight camping. Clark seconded it. The motion carried. And the last thing that needed to be changed was the adjournment. It says Joan made the adjournment, or made a motion to adjourn. Rick seconded it. Amanda opposed. The motion passed. Meeting was adjourned. So I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes as revised.
I'll support it.
Motion by Hunter, supported by Clark, to approve the revised meeting minutes for the June 21st meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0. Any public comments on action items only? Okay. Approval of bills. Does anybody have any questions on anything?
I would just like it to go on the record that the Parmenter Law bill for $2,173 was pertaining to that court case that I did not agree to pay, but was outvoted on. So depending on the motion will depend on whether or not I have a yes or no vote for this entire bill package.
I'll support that. The one thing that concerns me is why was Brian given time, or talking to the lawyer, and he wasn't even on the board, any position? Can you answer that, Joan?
Yes, I can, and that's something we could have talked about prior to this. He went because I wanted a planning commission member going, and Jay was gonna go, and something come up, he couldn't go, nobody else was available, and I had already talked to Brian about, his interest in it and about me appointing it, and I asked him if he wanted to go along to observe, to see one of the things that we do.
Well, I don't think it's right. I mean, this is one of the things I brought up before about you guys hiding stuff. And I mean, you bring it out at a meeting. It's not right.
Anyways, I make a motion that we pay the bills as presented.
Support.
Roll call.
Okay, roll call vote.
John Clark,
No,
Rick Robertson,
Yes.
Nancy Conley, yes. Joan David,
Yes.
Amanda Hunter.
No.
Motion carried 3-2.
This is treasurer's report. So currently, the total cash available as of 6/30/2022 is $961,099.60. We had $131,392.26 deposited into the accounts last month. We paid bills for a total of $59,038.16, and I just realized there's a missing error on my sheet, so I will correct that and get everybody the updated copy and update you next month as well, because I forgot to put in the transfer from the money market that I put in here, so the end balance on here. Actually, so our total cash available was wrong as well. My mistake, so I will have to update next month on total cash available. So So as for the deposits though, some of the reasons that it was so much, we had our second ARPA deposit put in, which was $93,580.45. The set reimbursement was finally put into the account, which is $4,760. And we had revenue sharing for a total of $29,882 for last month as well.
Amanda, for those in the audience and me, what does ARPA stand for?
It's the COVID money, American Rescue Plan Act.
Okay.
That came in
So-
two lots, first half in the beginning of the year and then the second half. And Amanda and Joan worked on finally Amanda got the report filed and that'll go in,
Actually,
you should have a copy of it.
Yeah.
give me 2 seconds and I can actually give you the, oh no, I can't, I don't have the correct things. So the total cash available though is calculated out based on how much we have in the checking account, which is the fund that we write our checks from. That is the fund that I apparently didn't enter properly into my spreadsheet. And then our money market account, which is the one that all of the money goes into, and then we transfer money from that into the checking when we pay checks. So the money market account had $1,019,314.34 at the end of last month. Our checking account had the checking account, and this does not include all of the checks that had been written that had not been cashed yet, but had $16,964.17 in it as of last month as well. So, like I said, I will update everybody next month. That's my mistake. I didn't apparently save or type in the information properly into my spreadsheet, so I will have an updated copy for everybody. And I will update everybody next month as to the official totals.
Amanda, why is it under the deposit breakdown for the month that ARPA is code number 286 and at the bottom it's 694, that's funds? I don't quite understand.
So that needs to be changed on my end as well. What was it in there? 694 or said?
694 says ARPA funds and then 286 is
Okay.
ARPA.
Because in the system that was pre-set up for me, it would have been under 286. So I had put it in
Okay.
my form as 286, whereas when Nancy puts it in hers, it's under 694. So you're right, it should be under 694.
Okay.
So I will update that as well.
Just clarify it, thank you.
Nope, thank you.
Okay, correspondence? The other thing I have, many of you would have received, hopefully, if you're a registered voter, voter information card, if you're in Newfield Township, Oceana County, updating your information. These were ordered and sent out by the county for us instead of each individual township doing it. If you did not receive one, let me know, because I have a little stack that the address is not a P.O. box. If it's a P.O. box, you might have not gotten it because it's not updated in the state system. So let me know if you didn't get it, but it lets you know if you received yours, of course, what city or township you live in, Newfield County, Oceana, and then it tells the various districts in which you reside. And we reside, there's been some changes in the congressional and our county commissioners, so it's not going to make a difference in the ballot that you get, but when you, I don't know, when I think of the congressional district, I draw this little map in my mind, and when I think of the county commissioners, I used to draw a little map, and now it's a big map because we went from 7 down to 5. So, but that information is all on there. Your congressional district is 2, your state senate is 32, your state representative you'll be voting for is 102, and the county commissioner is 4. You're in the Hesperia Community School District, I am. Now, if you're a voter in our township and you live out by Hightower Lake, you could be one of the parcels that's in the Shelby School District, which is the old ferry. So they don't all read the same, but this gives you your information and where you will vote. So that's all been updated. We're had the county do it so that it wasn't up to each individual township. So if you haven't received one, let me know, because I do have some out there with P.O. boxes on them.
Okay. And the only other thing that we received was a letter from John Bumstead about the passing of Bill SB 565 about water and infrastructure needs.
We also got something from the Oceana County Road Commission, and I'm not sure how long this will go on, but it is stating that Lakeview Drive, Hightower Lake Road 1 through 166th Avenue in Newfield Township will be closed to traffic beginning July 12th, 2022 for road
Are they done?
It's done.
construction. It's done already?
It's done.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So then that's not necessary.
Okay, next is supervisor's report. I've started on our quarterly newsletter, so if there's any information that you want in there, Amanda, you might want to give me something for taxes and that. And if you have anything that you want for election and all that, just get me that stuff. You can either email it to me or just write it out and put it on my desk. Then I just want to make some comments on some items that was mentioned at last month's meeting during public comments. As far as signs for the May election, the state police were called and also the Oceana County Sheriff. All the signs that the two PACs purchased and put up were legal and in legal locations. They were at the right distance. They were not in clear vision areas, and if on private property, they got permission before placing them there. Home team was not a third PAC. It was just a slogan used by one of the PACs. Earlier, we discussed internet and cell towers and using ARPA money, and Mr. Draper asked why we were supplying utilities for residents. That's something that we could use the ARPA funds for, and that's why we were checking into it. We have been checking on a recycling center, and our clerk has been working hard on getting a grant to cover a majority or all of the costs. Comments were it'll be a mess like the rest of the township, and we are self-sufficient. A lot of people are actually excited about possibly having it. Then when we were talking about purchasing land, possibly putting in a dog park and putting in a playground that would have come from donations, you stated that I didn't know that there was a strip of land between the property I was suggesting we purchase and the township's property. I have known for years that Dana Wilson owned that strip of property, as he has let the township and the cemetery, the Saxton, use that strip of land to drive on to dump dirt onto Mr. Wilson's property from the cemeteries. Initially, he said that we could continue to use it to get to the north side of the recycling center and south side of property that was being discussed to be purchased. What I didn't know is that he had decided to split some of his property and sell it, and that included that strip. And Mr. Draper, you also sent me a letter accusing some of the board members and our zoning administrator of sending items to Francine Greisen. You said that you call people out on wrongdoings. I told you it wasn't any of us that did that, and you shouldn't assume things. And I could sit here all day and call people out on all the wrongdoings and lies that were told during the election, both lies about the township and personal lies about the board members. It was even promised to put in a coffee shop and community center if someone was elected, but we all know that you can't use township funds for that. All I have to say is the election is over, and hopefully the ballot initiative is also over. We have come to a halt on many things that we have been working on. We are no longer putting things on the back burner, and we are going to go back to doing our jobs without constant disruptions about things that are done and over with. And I can't believe that this group spends so much time talking about what you're going to do, what you're going to say, who should say it, where you should sit, and what to do to try to make the board look bad when you come to the township meetings. It is a constant disruption and it needs to stop. If you were to put that much time and energy into doing things that are good and working in a positive manner, we could all work together and we could have an even more amazing township than what we already have to live in. Okay, we don't have any unfinished business. For new business, we have Great Lakes Energy.
Yeah. We received from Dykema Law Firm, and it's concerning another Great Lakes Energy app. It's called the Metro Act Permit Application Form. Dear Nancy Conley, please find enclosed your Great Lakes Energy Cooperative Great Lakes application for a permit to access your township's public right-of-ways pursuant to the Metropolitan Extension Telecommunications Right-of-Way Oversight Act, along with a $500 fee. They sent the check to us already. Contemplated by the Metro Act. As you know, Great Lakes already holds a franchise to provide electricity, and this Metro Act franchise will allow it to also offer broadband internet service in your area. Please note that this act requires municipalities to approve or deny the franchise request within 45 days. If you are unfamiliar with the act, you can seek assistance by contacting the Telecommunications Division of the Michigan Public Service Commission, and it has a number if anybody's interested. Thank you for your attention to this application. Great Lakes is prepared to supplement as is necessary. If you have questions, please feel free to contact us. And it's pretty extensive, but it looks like to me, and Amanda read it, Joan read it, it looks to me like it's giving them the right of way to go in and along the roadways, put in the poles, put in the wiring, do whatever they have to do in our township to get everything in it that is needed for access to ongoing use of public ways by the telecommunication providers. So we're not the only one that received one, of course, everybody around has. So they've already sent us the $500 check, and we just have to vote whether we want to give them this act permit application form if we want to approve it. Any questions? I make a motion that we approve the Great Lakes Energy Metro Act pursuant application. Each one of you have received the information in your packet.
I support.
Okay, motion by Conley, supported by Robinson to approve the Great Lakes Energy application. All in favor, say aye.
I think we have to do it
You have
by roll call. Yeah.
for resolution. Sorry about that.
Resolution.
Okay, go ahead.
That's okay. John Clark,
Yes.
Amanda Hunter,
Yes.
Joan David,
Yes.
Rick Robertson,
Yes.
Nancy Conley, yes. And I'll get that information back to them then.
Okay, thank you. Next is signs. After hearing that we approved signs last month for some autistic children and that, we had another couple that asked about doing a couple of signs on another road. They have an adult child that has some difficulties, and he is also deaf, and he can't, he doesn't sense if a car drives up behind him or anything, so he doesn't, you know, a lot of, we can usually tell when something, and he can't do that, and that he's deaf, so even if they honk the horn and all that, he doesn't know. So they had asked if we would be willing to purchase 2 signs to put on their road.
What road is it again?
It's Hightower Lake Road.
I make a motion we approve that we order 2 signs for Hightower Lake Road.
And we can
And you
provide,
could coordinate with them what they want on the sign.
Most likely it'll be like
Deaf child.
Well, deaf adult area, deaf
Yeah.
child area, yeah. Okay, I support that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0. Number 3, credit card resolution.
All right, so, I think that's the same one. Does anybody have the credit card one? Okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's
Got
not.
it somewhere
Thank
amongst
you.
this.
I apparently printed out 2 of the over-unders for myself and not one of the credit card policies. So if anybody's missing an over-under, I have yours.
I'm missing an over-under.
Okay, that's worse. Sorry about that.
That was me.
Okay, so this, in order to get credit cards for the township, according to law, you have to pass a resolution to establish a credit card policy. So I had gone through and I had taken the credit card policy, this entire resolution was adopted from, I believe, Fruitport, Michigan. I can't remember which township down there, if it was Fruitport Township. But this was taken pretty much exactly from them. Do you guys want me to read through it, or you want me to just make a motion? Okay, so I make a motion by resolution to establish a credit card policy for Newfield Township.
I'll support it.
Any discussion?
Well, I'd like to be able to have time to read through both of these resolutions and that before we vote on them.
Okay, I did give them to you guys last week.
Well,
It was supposed to be voted on at last week's meeting.
Well, no,
the
we,
meeting got cut short.
The credit card policy isn't terribly important, but the over-under one needs to be done tonight, or we're already in non-compliance.
You've got a motion and a second on, so we need to vote.
That was on the first one?
Yes,
The
so
credit
the
card.
credit card policy.
Credit card resolution.
but in our policy book, it says that the township
Will not have a
will not have a credit card.
Again, that was one of those things that we didn't get around to in the meeting last week, was the financial management policy. So in the financial management policy that I handed out to everybody, this was added in there.
I think we should table it until we get to handle it in the policies first.
Okay, but we can't create the policy on it unless the resolution has been passed
can
first. So
discuss
we
it.
can
We
do
can
this
discuss it.
later.
We can do it later.
We can table this until we go over the policy for financial management, but before
Well, we
we
can call for a vote. If we get 3 yes and 2 nays, so be it.
could do that
2
too.
nays and 2 yeses.
And I'm okay with tabling it. This one, like I said, is not,
It's your motion. If you want to table it, table it.
I'll table it. I can table this one until we, go over the
Table
financial
doesn't need a
management.
vote. It's done.
Okay.
Move on.
So for the over-under, so the resolution to address collection of payments or refunds on taxes over or under $5. So essentially what this does is that it allows the Newfield Township Treasurer to not request secondary payment due of any tax amounts totaling $5 or less once the primary payment has been received. The township would be using the interest earned to pay those underpayments, and overpayments totaling $5 or less shall be handled by the treasurer in accordance with generally accepted regional tax collection practices, which means that anything over $5, so if the total bill was $100 and they paid $104, that $4 would not be refunded to them.
And if they paid 95?
And if they paid $96, then they would not
You know,
have to
this is
pay that
common knowledge,
additional.
and I have 3 pieces of property, so I
Yeah.
got $5 from each one of my bills, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
I think there's a reason that we didn't do that before.
Well, we've been following it, so we've been following it for years without the resolution, so we're in non-compliance, so if we're not going to follow it, I need to be in compliance and start
By the time you
spending
refund
people.
somebody $4, or you try to get $5 from somebody, you've wasted more money than what it
Absolutely,
costs.
which is what the over-under policy is meant for.
Right.
Because I've got people that have missed 26 cents. It's not worth it for me to send a bill for those 26 cents
No.
when it costs 62 cents now, I think, for a stamp. But the thing is, without this on file, so I'd like to make a motion to accept the resolution to address the collection of payments or refunds on taxes over or under $5.
Support. Motion by Hunter, supported by David to approve the resolution for the over/under of $5. Roll call vote.
It'd be resolution 7-2022. John Clark,
Yes?
Amanda,
Yes?
Joan,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Nancy, yes.
Okay.
Motion carried.
Next is reports. MTA had their first meeting after, not sure how many years it's been.
Couple,
Yeah, maybe 3. Actually, it was before, probably a year before COVID started.
it's the county MTA.
Yep, county MTA. It was decided that well, at the meeting, we had an MTA person there to answer questions and give information. We also had Craig Mass there talking about the new jail. And it was decided that the MTA, which is for elected officials, would meet quarterly. And so it'll be March, June, September, and December. It'll be the last Wednesday of the month at 7 o'clock. We're doing rotating townships. We're gonna do them in alphabetical order. I think Benona would have been the next one, but they can't,
Benona?
yeah, they can't do it in September, so we're going down, I believe Clay Banks is where it's gonna be located.
Okay, so you said, sorry, March, June, September, and
December.
December. And that was the third, I'm sorry,
It's
last.
the last Wednesday of those
Thank you.
months at 7 o'clock, rotating townships. The MTA board right now is Connie Cargill was treasurer, now she's president.
She also sits on the MTA,
Yeah,
Michigan Township Association Board.
yeah. And then the Shelby Township Supervisor, Richard is chairperson, and then I am the secretary. Next, Planning Commission, they don't have anything right now, but their meeting is August 11th at 7 o'clock. Cemetery,
Dennis has been busy.
Yeah, I had one burial for the month, and I want to comment on the mileage thing you guys raised a stake about last month. I went clear to Muskegon, got 3 bases on my own money. That's just what I do. I've been doing that for years. And I would like to return this $23 check on the comments you two made. It's not worth it. And if that makes you feel, add that to the $1 million. Now you got $1,023,000.
I'm gonna say it was approved, so it is yours.
Well, I thought we took that off.
No,
No,
it was not
well,
taken
well,
off, it
just-
was completely
I don't
approved.
want no more. It's been that way forever, and we'll keep it that way, okay? $23 ain't worth the hassle.
That's your call.
Then,
Go ahead.
one more comment. I was out the I-Tower yesterday, and somebody built a massive fire. I mean, it was huge, big old pieces of wood right on the side of the brush. So I think the board needs to make a decision on the fires, because the fire ring that was there come up missing, but the board paid for a bunch of play sand. I moved down there. Well, then you got this big pile of burnt up wood right in the middle where the kids are playing. Well, then they just moved it over to the side. And then it was gone, defeated the purpose of the place again. But anyway, last week there was, and I took the wood and threw it down by the water so it couldn't come back and start another fire, but it's kind of a problem. And there's houses real close there.
Well, there's houses
They
and
don't need
then
it.
there's a
And
lot of
then the
decorations.
barbecue grill, there, I never see any charcoal in the barbecue grill. It's full of papers and sticks. They light fires in the charcoal grill, so. But anyway, that's probably all right, but the fire thing, it's gotta have a sign, no fires, cause that could've got it. I mean, they were big pieces of wood. We don't even put that big pieces in the fires at camping. No ring, no nothing, right on the bank.
Caught the brush on fire.
They could've, yeah, burned a big spot. I mean, shoot, it was bigger than that table, just off from the picnic table. I mean, that's stop it before something bad happens. They burn down a residence or something.
Maybe a sign, no open
Well,
fires.
they got till 10 o'clock. The sign said they're open till 10. The big people are coming after 10, no fires.
Yeah, but you could put a sign,
No fire, no camping.
no, yeah, no open fires, you
Anything?
know. And then if
No beach
someone
fire?
happens to see it,
That.
they can call the sheriff.
I mean, it's a swimming area. It's not a camping spot. You don't need fire.
So maybe swimming area only, no fire,
Yeah, something.
no open fires.
And if you want to go down there and look, feel free. But then kids are playing around the charcoal. It's not a good situation.
Len, is the rings back down there? Cause I know that they,
It disappeared for a year and it came back last year, now it's gone again.
Somebody's taken,
You know, they get about $150 for them rings.
Probably, yeah. Well, it's just a small one.
Oh, well,
But
they're only 45.
They pile a lot more wood on there than the ring will hold.
Right.
well, I agree with it, cause I know that I got, some phone calls, and one of the phone calls was somebody from across the lake because the fire was so big.
I guess my only concern is how many signs do we have there right now?
We have two, we have one that says no alcohol or drugs, and then as soon as the other one comes in, it has
Okay.
the
And you
the
ordered
hours.
that already?
Mhm.
Okay, because I was gonna say, I wonder if we need one giant sign that tells all of the rules
Well,
instead of 5 mini signs, because
Yeah.
people aren't gonna read 5 mini signs.
Well, they're stacked
But
on
if we
top of
already
each other.
ordered-
They're stacked
They're
on top.
stacked on top of each
They're on a
other right
pole.
now, and right by the porta john, then we can
Okay.
just stack the next one on top of them two.
Okay,
when I set the porta john on fire, we're in trouble.
Yeah, they don't put fires there, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you wanna make a motion to add that, have you already ordered the signs?
Yeah, but I can call, and if they haven't done it yet, they can add it on, otherwise I'll just,
Do a small one?
do a small one.
I think we should put,
and
I make a motion that we find a sign for the Hightower Lake Park that reads, no fires,
no open burn.
no open burning.
That's not a bad idea to have a big sign, park
I
rules.
mean, if they could see
But
it,
if we've already
we've already got them, so we
purchased
can
the
just
last
add another
one.
We just take that fire
Put it
right out
together.
there and have no fires, period.
No fires, period.
I
Well,
mean,
they have the same sign at Greenwood down at Taylor Bridge. I do the Greenwood Township stuff too. Well, they pulled it right out of the ground and threw it in the creek.
Yeah.
So Jeff didn't even know it was missing, so I put that back up. So it's been missing.
What did that one read?
No.
Oh, that was the no overnight
The
camping.
hours
Okay.
from 9
For Taylor
until,
Bridge.
to no overnight camping.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the
No,
burning
no,
thing
no
was down
fire.
there too.
But
so.
they need to have one of them down
Okay.
there too.
Well, the other thing we could do too is move all those small ones down by the beach, but then have a
Have a
big
big
one
one
that's
with rules up.
by parking, so
I
when
was thinking
when they
like a-
pull into park, there's that big sign
Yeah,
telling
like a
them.
wind one.
Yeah, I just,
It has,
Okay, I got a motion on the floor for a sign at Hightower Lake, no open burning,
okay.
or,
Support.
or some wordage of that
Yeah.
sort.
Okay,
say park or something.
Does it have support?
yeah, I support it.
Oh.
Oh,
So-
okay. I didn't hear
Did
that.
you make the motion?
Yeah,
Okay. Motion by Conley, supported by David to get a sign for no open burning down at Hightower Lake Park. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0. Roads. When the road commission put in a new road on 200th Avenue. They went around the corner onto Baker Partway, and that's all the farther that they went, but partially because we only approved to have 200th Avenue done. They gave us an estimate of what it would be to go from where they ended up to the stop sign at the corner of Baker and 204th. It, shoot. 2,200 feet is the length. And they would do a 22-foot width with 2 1/4 inch thickness over the top of what is already there. The bill came in around 36,000 less than what we approved, but to do that, it's almost 115,000, and our portion would be 95,405. So even taking away 37,000, you're still at 58,000. Being that it's around the corner and on Baker, I don't know if we can use the marijuana funds for that. So I don't want to make a decision on this, I just want everybody to be aware of that and to think about that. And
I got a question. Who made the decision on that road? Did you or?
no, the board,
Brad?
We voted on it.
Yeah, but I mean, why didn't we,
because we only did the part that the marijuana funds would pay for.
And what was ground up last year.
yeah, but it probably would have been, what, another 50,000 if that? If you'd have went down to 204? That way the whole road would have been
Yeah, if they
done.
would have done, and I asked them why they didn't ask us about it while the Ruth Riley was there before they got there,
Right,
because we
'cause I
didn't
mean-
know about it after.
The length you're saying, that's less than a half mile, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been the smart thing to do, right, 204th,
Mhm.
that way it.
How soon do they need to know?
They didn't say.
Okay.
I can ask them when I meet with them tomorrow.
But like you say now, it's gonna cost probably another 50,000 extra just to come out and do that.
What we saved, what'd you say, 36 to 37?
37,000.
200 come in under bid.
Yeah.
Joe, you're talking about the Baker from the curve to 200?
Yep. Because when they ground up 200th Avenue, when they went back in and paved, they did that, then they went around the curve a little bit, so it wasn't just, but, you know, if they would have said something sooner, we could have maybe seen about.
Yeah, you'd have thought Jeff or somebody would have said, hey, why not?
Well,
you know,
Jeff did.
You know.
Jeff came right in here, and, well, I think, weren't you here?
I was here that one day.
Yeah, and Jeff came in, yeah, and that's when he mentioned it. But then I told them that we couldn't make a decision or anything without an estimate, but it took them that long. We just got this estimate last week, from the time that you were here and he came in to the time that we got this estimate. So, I mean, we don't, you know, that's just something for us to think about and look at and see, but we don't need to make a
Well,
decision
they're
on
not
it
gonna be
tonight.
doing the paving part until next year anyway, right?
Well, there's a possibility it could be this year.
Oh, really?
Because they were going, one of the reasons why it took long is because they were trying to get hold of Ruth Riley to see what their schedule is and to see when they would be in this area again, to see if they could do that. So it wasn't an added cost of coming just for that. So, parks, Len, you got anything you wanna
Not really.
mention? No?
Bull hunter's gonna be out there pretty quick.
What is?
People fishing bullheads on the swimming beach.
Oh, yeah?
They're gonna be having some lights out there at night.
Oh, lights at night.
Oh, okay. They do that from the boats though, right?
I've seen 3 or 4 dead ones
Most
down
of, most of them do them from the bank.
Huh, okay.
there.
Zoning.
Okay. We've got a couple things real quick. June wasn't that heavy of a month. I was gone for a couple weeks. But we're picking back up here in July. So that's a good thing. But, so here's for June. And one thing that did come up, actually this month, whoa.
Improve your wages.
It didn't break, it didn't go all the way down. Don't scare me. Okay. But anyways, yeah, we've actually had 2 permits, 3 permits already this month, so we're getting back in the swing of things. What's interesting is, I think we're at least at 5 new houses in the township this year. So people are investing in the township. What I'm handing out, I think I emailed this to everyone previously, but just so you get a hard copy. We did get some complaints about the Hightower Bar over 4th of July weekend. They had a band outside, and I guess to say it was loud is kind of an understatement. And so, in looking at our ordinance, Article 16 says that folks are supposed to have an entertainment license to have entertainment, and it's actually just about anything. So,
I can't believe they don't have one.
well, they have one from the state, but they, and quite honestly, I'll be honest, Rick, I didn't even know that we had that in the ordinance until this all came up. In any case, I did talk to John Saucer, the owner, last Friday. He wasn't aware. He apologized. He said he agreed that it was way over the top. He said he couldn't even take orders he was tending bar, and he couldn't even hear what people were ordering. They were that loud. He should have stepped up and told them to turn it down, so it was his error. He does want to get into compliance. What I handed out was since we didn't have one, as an application for entertainment permit. The fee is actually, our fee is pretty reasonable, it's $100 a year.
I don't know if this is legal.
Why not?
The state gives out my entertainment permit, it's free. My food permit, it's free.
Yeah, I know that they have that.
Through the liquor commission.
But we can have that under our zoning.
Yeah, but is it legal?
I don't know, that's my
It
point.
might be
Might-
something we need to look into
Well,
before we
well,
approve.
I think what I'll do is I'll call John Schreier.
It's just like your liquor license, you get a board of people pissed off at a bar, and when it comes liquor license time, and they send you that little complimentary thing that you have to approve, or you don't have to, but if you don't approve, a big deal, the state still gives you a license. I'm serious.
Yeah, no, I'm taking it that way.
Well,
So that's why I'm saying, I don't know that this is legal.
does it fall under the noise? Is that more?
Well, there's noise, we do have the noise ordinance, and that is legal, and,
Right.
and he doesn't have a problem with that. I mean.
Like
he
quitting
wouldn't-
at a certain time?
Yeah, 11 o'clock, and so, yeah, that's not the problem. The problem is that we have this ordinance. And I guess according, I talked to Gail and to Bill Myers, and they said they recall Dave having gotten a license previously, but.
I think we should look into it a little
Yeah.
further before we approve or deny this.
Okay.
I would like to table it for next month. but, you know, we'll look into it and.
Well, then, here's the question. Do we tell him he can't have entertainment in the meantime?
You can have entertainment, he's got an entertainment license through the state.
Okay, well, that's what I'm asking, Rick, but.
You can't have noise if it's a DVD.
Right, you can't have noise after 11, and that's not the question.
They're gonna have it inside.
He's built a big deck.
I doubt if his entertainment permit is taking in his parking lot, I'm pretty sure it's inside entertainment permit.
Okay,
I think there might be an outside.
he does have an outside
Yeah,
stage.
you can, that's a special permit, you have to apply for it.
From the
You know,
state?
You can, yeah, you can
Okay.
have a
Okay.
beer tent, you can do whatever you want outside, but you have to have a
apply for
special
the state.
permit.
Okay.
Every time you do it, you have to have, just like the Legion, having, beer tents and stuff, they have to get a special permit.
Right, but like if a bar has,
But
I
then
know
cost
Eppin
anything.
Bar has an outside stage, and they have bands there all summer outside.
And they probably apply for them, and they don't cost anything.
Okay.
You just have to apply to the state, and they have to approve it. So, you know, I mean, that's why when this one here, looking at it, they gotta have 300,000 in liability insurance, property damage of 25,000, corporate security bond of at least 10, and I don't know.
Check and see with John
I just don't
and the
think
state.
it's illegal. I just don't think it is.
But if they know the noise thing, that's the biggest thing right
Well,
now.
they haven't had an issue with,
He
out there
understands
since
no
it
noise after
seems-
11?
Seems the big thing was the 4th of July weekend.
Okay.
That they had one band that was really problematic, and they're not gonna be coming back.
You can tell them to turn it down all you want, they are blue in the face, and they won't turn it down, believe me, I know. When they
I
do
can't-
it, pull the
because-
only thing you do
because
is pull the electric cord out and.
Well, I'll tell you what,
Yell out, that's all you
Years
do.
ago, when I played in very loud bands, if we were too loud and they told us to turn it down, and we didn't, they dock our pay. They dock our pay. If we were supposed to get 400, we got 200.
Yeah.
You didn't turn it down, you only get 2. It's-
Table it till next month.
Yeah.
If they have an entertainment, find out if they've got an entertainment one from the state.
That I know they do.
Well, you have to find that out online, everything
Yeah.
with it.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
Next is public comments.
I just have a quick question, again, update, online or whatever, update up to this moment on the recycle center.
I haven't heard anything. I talked to her.
Okay.
She's waiting. There was 2 grants written at the same time, one for the county of Newego and ours, and she was hoping that if they both get approved, she can order dumpsters and get a deal. So I have not heard. I checked every day my stuff, and we're just keeping our fingers crossed.
Any other public comments?
This is kind of a safety comment. There's a building on Main Street in Hesperia that's kind of fallen down, partially covered with asbestos. And I've mentioned this over the years, and to me, something ought to be done. And everybody keeps putting it off and saying, well, it's another department. I don't care what department it is. Something's got to be done. It's covered with asbestos might detonate people when it falls, and all the dust would be all over town if we got the right windstorm. And Mike knows what I'm talking about. And I don't know what the township can do, but somebody will do something.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mike and I can get together and talk. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So you brought up the $2,000 lawyer expense for this month. And I know that, Joan, you and Nancy both individually brought a lawsuit against Amy Anderson, the county clerk, against the August referendum, in wanting the marijuana money, or wanting the taxpayers to pay that bill. Can you give us a total to date, what that is, and is that the final bill?
I do not have a total to date.
I would suggest that before you.
You're asking taxpayers to pay this, though. Wouldn't we have a right?
I suggest that before you.
Is there any other public comments? Sir?
Hi, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Dennis Cole. Last name spelled K-O-C-H, a little different than how it's pronounced. I'm a candidate for Oceana County Road Commissioner. I live in Oceana County. I was born and raised here. Right now, I currently live in Elbridge Township, where I've lived for 45 years with my wife, Vicki. I have an extensive background in automotive and diesel mechanics for 50 years. 18 years I was a supervisor. I retired from Oceana County Road Commission, where I worked for 37 years. During my 37 years, I was equipment operator, heavy equipment, trucks, so on and so forth. My last 18 years at the Road Commission, I was shop supervisor, so I was in charge of purchasing trucks, equipment, budgeting, so on and so forth. I feel that with my background and stuff, I'd like to continue. The Road Commission treated me very well for my 37 years while I was there. So I'd like to continue trying to bring new ideas, and I know money's tight and everything else, so try to help you get the most that we can for all the dollars for the residents of Oceana County. I appreciate your time and I'd like your votes. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Something that came to me by email last week, and I wish I had a chance to get out. But we've had some people talk about they'd rather have pig farms in the area and things like that. This afternoon, there was a town hall meeting at the Wesleyan Church in Walkerville. There is a major contamination from Valley View Pork Farms up in Walkerville. There's known 25 contaminated wells, and they think that there may be up to 60. This is contamination with PFAS, which is called a forever chemical because it just don't break down, and it's also contamination with heavy metals. And what they did is they applied basically sludge from Eagle Ottawa Leather Company in Grand Haven up there to build up the soils because it has high organic content. And now there's a big problem, a real big problem. And there's a question, they didn't say what the depth of the wells were, but I think everyone here in the township needs to be aware, because these aquifers flow. You have an aquifer, it can go for hundreds of miles. And we ain't that far from Walkerville. So it could impact wells here.
It was all the way up to 7 Mile Road.
Okay.
I lived there when they were putting it on. I was 17 years old, and I told them they were going to get poison in the ground back then. That was 35 years ago. And they didn't listen.
What about these big trucks hauling that stuff up from down by Brunswick? Is that the same kind of?
It's supposed to be different, but it's going to come back and bite them in the mouth.
Yeah,
Well, being delivered in our township, it's gonna come back to bite us in the.
well, we don't know, I know that testing kits were sent, but we know that we have a problem with nitrates here on Loop Road. And that's one of the problems when you have particularly concentrated animal waste like a turkey farm or something like that. They call it CFOA, concentrated feed operation. So it's
because of the Right to Farm Act, is there anything we can do about it or not?
not a whole lot until damage is done. I guess we can call Schreiber and see if there's something. But if they follow the law, the Right to Farm Act says that if they follow GAMP, generally accepted management practices, you can't prohibit that. If they go outside of that, yes, you can. But unfortunately,
No, you're the constable, you better keep an eye on that.
Well, Sid, he could probably tell you, when they done ours, BD done ours this year, they signed us a letter, but as far as, there's nothing, I don't know, is that true, Sid?
What's that?
If they send you a letter, there ain't much you can do about it.
Yeah, there ain't much you can do about it. They're going to follow through with it anyway.
Yeah.
And they always, after the meeting, we talked about them notifying the township, and I hadn't received anything a few months ago. That next week I got what places they were gonna be doing in the township.
Well, it's usually up our way, Beatty or Slater.
They
Yeah.
put 1 million gallons on behind the house.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was some of the, I don't even have the pictures on my phone, but it looked like tar. It was the nastiest black smelling you ever smelled.
Okay, any other public comments?
I don't know how it's gonna be paid for, but the best way to remedy this is to put some test wells along the northern boundary of the township. Because if it's flowing from Walkerville, it'll hit those test wells first. And it's gonna take money to do it, it's just a matter of where the money comes from.
The problem is it just takes so many years for that stuff to seep down through, and the damage is way, way bad before you even know it. You know, it's been, I lived up there, I moved up there when I was 9 years old, lived there till I was 23. They started putting it on when I was 17, and I'm 53 now, and now last year, they just finally figured it out. And we told them when they were putting it on, because they said, we'll keep it 150 feet from the ditches, we'll keep it from any water, everything was 150 feet.
And at night, when you'd go by at night, the fields glowed.
Yep, it's nasty.
They did.
John, along the same lines as John's comment, I lived down in Detroit for a few years, and they had the same issue down there with the auto industry, PFAS. And they are able, with these wells, as John indicated, to track the migration over the years, and they can predict where this material is going. There's a huge effort to eradicate it, because they're having to pump millions and millions and millions of gallons of water out. But if you want to really take a forward-looking stance on it, I think John's suggestion's got some merit for the board to consider.
Maybe hook him up with those people from Walkerville.
Well, Eagle is getting involved, and Eagle will be putting monitoring wells in. And of course, they've got the hydrology to know where it's going and the directional flow, and they are supposed to be doing that. I understand there will be probably another public hearing on it. Right now, there's a question about liability, and that goes to, of course, who's gonna have to pay for it. Because if Eagle Ottawa did it, they were sold to Lear Corporation. Lear says, well, hey, it ain't our problem, it's Walcott's and Valley View Pork. Valley View Pork now is sold.
That's what we got in Indiana.
Yeah, and so there's some legal fussing there, but just wanted to make folks aware that maybe the farms that we have that use all natural stuff isn't so bad to have. Okay.
PFAS is very hard to test too, in that it's very specialty. And next, we have a quarterly, we gotta do it in the village. And so you can't just take the water sample. They come up and they're in protective clothing, and it's parts per trillion. It started out 70 parts per trillion that the state was, now they're down to 8. It might be 7 parts per trillion. PFAS comes from a lot more than that. Fire retardant is a big one. Teflon out of cooking. There's a lot of different places PFAS comes from. So it is a very big concern.
Waterproofing.
Huh?
Waterproofing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Eagle Ottawa.
Yeah. You know, and like your fire
That's why I still use cast iron, not Teflon.
Yeah.
Okay,
My name is Paul Erickson. I'm your District 4 County Commissioner. And yes, I serve on our District 10 Health Department. And up until this period, we've been monitoring PFAS in Rothbury. And it was suspected to be coming from Kyrgyz iron. But through the hydrology reports, it's been found that it had nothing to do with Kyrgyz iron sludge. It's coming from another deposit upstream from Rothbury. So District 10 is monitoring those wells. There are filters available. And this Eagle Ottawa question, District 10 Health Department is aware of this, working with Eagle and be monitoring this. Filters would become available.
Let you folks know what Eagle is, because I forgot to.
Eagle Ottawa Leather?
No, Eagle is the
Eagle is the old DEQ, which what we found, and it's partly because of the pandemic, there were a lot of people that through attrition were going to be retiring from many, many, many jobs. And when we got into the pandemic, these older people opted out. So many of these younger engineering positions are being filled with very young people that don't have experience or mentors to look to in these different capacities. So we're a little bit at odds right now with the data and the engineering, but District 10 Health Department covers 10 counties in our area. We're at the southern end, and we've been very involved with the Rothbury question, and now are becoming very involved with the Eagle Ottawa question. But yes, there was a lot of sludge brought up and dumped on our farms out in Valley View area. So it is being monitored, and as this progresses, there will be filters available. There are some people that have not wanted to have their wells tested, so there are many wells that are suspect, but we don't have the testing on it. So as this develops, I'll keep you abreast of the things the District 10 Health Department is looking at. But yeah, this is a very new thing, and it's very concerning. It's fire retardant. It was used in the tanning of leather, and many leather factories have been in our area for 100 years. And if you remember, Rockford had the same problem with Wolverine boot. This was just about 10 years ago. The Rockford area was very entrenched in the PFAS. So that will be monitored, and there will be more information for the public as it progresses. But this town hall meeting was very good to bring it to the Walkerville area so that we would realize it. And also I serve on our Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, the Oceana County Medical Care Board. The bright spot that I'd like to report is that this past month, our medical care facility was in the black. Now, throughout the pandemic, we're only having perhaps 50 beds filled in our medical care, and we were running $150,000, $200,000 in the red every month. But we've contained costs. Our census is up to 78 beds today, so we have come out of the red. We're now operating in the black, and we look forward to more residents and getting back to a healthier state. One of the problems that we're having is filling the job slots that are available. There are a lot of people that haven't taken a career as a CNA or working in our medical care, so there's a very viable career there. The other thing I'd like to say is I've requested, and I hope that we will get a report from Life Ambulance soon. We've missed 2 reports, those are quarterly, that have not been provided for us. And if you remember, I brought up the fact that we've only had 2 buses running in Oceana County with a whole lot of inter-hospital transfers, Mason County transfers. Life has been involved in that, so I know it's been light on this side of the county, especially in the summer with Silver Lake in full operation. We have a tremendous demand for our ambulances on the west side, and hopefully we'll be getting a report. If you remember, I had brought up the fact that there was free training available at the Griswold Annex in part for people interested in becoming a paramedic, and we only had 3 people sign up for that. So it looks as though there may be 1 person completing that process. So the other crisis that we're in right now is we do not have the personnel available to man the buses. If we had, we've got the buses to run. So it's manning the buses has been our biggest problem because we're short on personnel. You know, and we'd offered that program free. We had a very poor turnout, sign up for that. We're in a real tough spot in the paramedic business. Thank you.
Thank
I have one question for you.
Yeah.
Is District 10 monitoring that digester?
We've heard about the digester. I can't tell you how close we've gotten to monitoring it, but it has been a discussion what's coming out of that and going on our fields also.
Okay.
Yeah, District 10. We also have Newego as part of District 10. Jim Mankey is our chair of that out of Newego, so we've got a very qualified guy that's been on top of that. But yeah, the biodigester is another issue that we're following in District 10. Another thing that's really interesting, about 3-4 weeks ago, monkeypox was on the radar, and there was not one case of monkeypox in Michigan. But if you've watched the news lately, monkeypox is starting to become very relevant, and there are reasons why, but it's an extremely contagious for the people that get it, and it's a very ugly and brutal virus. So there are vaccines available for it. They're becoming available as this does spread. And the third thing I'd like to say is, you know, this long COVID question is coming back, and we're starting to experience people who had COVID are coming down with COVID again. And the hospitalizations are up. So we're starting to see hospitalizations again for people with what's been determined as long COVID. So if you had it once, got through it, it doesn't mean it's over forever.
Okay, thank you. Steve, did you have something?
Do I never have something?
Hopefully it's something new.
I'm sorry?
I said hopefully it's something new.
No, absolutely not. In fact, I was in the township hall here last week, and I realized that I probably should double down on my efforts and make sure that everybody understands exactly who I am and what the heck I'm doing up here. Because I think there's still some misunderstandings. Anybody want a copy? Got a couple here. Sorry about they were driving when I started, guys.
Can I make a comment about the fire department before we get off topic? Do you guys remember PDD? Remember the fire department PDD in the 70s? That was Farm Bureau's issue. So I know up here there was an issue with PDD. Were the animals buried in that area?
I have no idea.
No.
Where were they? Are they around here though?
Down on Maple Island.
5 miles south of town.
So that doesn't have anything to do
Cox
with...
had it.
Big Cox
Dick
Farm.
Cox.
Where you get your sweet corn?
Yeah.
Where you get your sweet corn?
All right, so my name's Steve Talbot, and I own property and agribusiness on 186th Avenue and Johnson Road. And I don't represent any other interest here other than my own. And I mean that. I want to go on record as opposing any further permitting of marijuana production facilities. To be clear, my opposition is not directed at any deficiency of the existing facilities themselves. They are legally established businesses. You, the board, threw out the welcome mat, and they're here. I've been consistent in my statements for the last how many months, folks, so we'll keep going here. But in review of the process, the Planning Commission and the board accomplished the minimum required by law.
Slow down, Steve, you talk so fast, nobody can even understand you.
Thank you, it's a habit.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Here, Nance.
But in review of the process, the Planning Commission and the board accomplished the minimum required by law in permitting these facilities. And in doing so, I contend and continue to contend that you failed your constituents. In support of my position, I refer you to the document published in October 2021 titled Newfield Township Board Meeting 10/19/21 Fact Sheet. It's the gift that keeps on giving as far as I'm concerned. Okay, this was read into the record by the township supervisor on that meeting. Item 1 of the sheet identifies a 2008 statewide referendum on medical marijuana which passed in Newfield Township by a significant 12% margin. Item 2 of the document identifies this 2018 statewide referendum on recreational marijuana which passed in Newfield Township by a slim 2% margin. Item 3 of the fact sheet then states, apparently in reference to items 1 and 2, quote, therefore the residents of Newfield Township were in favor of marijuana, unquote. So based on 2 referendums occurring 10 years apart on issues totally unrelated to establishing marijuana facilities in the township, the Planning Commission and Board determined that the residents of Newfield Township approved of establishing marijuana production facilities in the township. Well, let that sink in. 10 years apart. 2 separate referendums having nothing to do with marijuana production facilities in this township. You made that determination. This overreaching determination, in my opinion, is the root cause of the current issue with the Planning Commission and Board. I contend, and I have contended in the past and will continue, that the township residents should have been given the opportunity to vote on a specific issue of marijuana production facilities in Newfield Township. I also contend that the residents should still be given this opportunity. I know it's hot, but I wanted to make that clear, guys. The reason I'm standing up here is your fact sheet. And I will continue to stand here every month and participate in the government of this township, okay? Item A to think of the fact sheet indicates that you had no participation whatsoever when this thing happened back in 2019. I don't think you're going to have that problem going forward. But this is the process that our government has established, and I think you should let the people have that vote in an upcoming referendum. Thank you very much for your time. God bless America.
Any other public comments? Okay, Brian?
My name is Brian Sukup, and I live on Hightower Road. And I'd like to take us to the current time, July 2022, if I may. And yesterday I toured the Oceana County Jail Complex. Under Sheriff Ryan Schiller took me on a tour at my request. And I'd like to share some of my impressions of my tour, and I took extensive notes. I may have to cut it down, probably talk a little fast. For those who haven't toured, the first impression that you got is immediately is the smell. It's a humid and like a dank smell. And I tend to look at things with a little bit more critical eye when I toured. You know, having been retired from Department of Corrections to State Department of Corrections for 26 years, I tend to be a little bit more critical than most folks. One of the things I noticed right away they have only 2 holding cells, which is insignificant. It's very problematic, especially when females are arrested. When they're taken into the garage is a very small area. So when people are arrested, before they get to the holding cells, if there's a tussle with anybody that's arrested, it's extremely small, tight quarters. And you know, obviously that's a safety risk for the officers. One of my biggest areas that were concerned was the inmates' health service. I believe they call it medical. I'm using a DOC term when they say health service. I wrote, the first word that I wrote with my impression was that it's pitiful. The room is about 6.5 by 10. It's extremely cramped for the nurse that works there. She has to it's so cramped in this room, she has to put her garbage can on a file cabinet. That's how cramped this room is. This is shameful that an employee has to work in this environment. The cell doors, one of the officers came on the tour with me and the undersheriff, and he keyed like a cell door, and the inmates that were in there. You can feel the breach through the cracks. These cell doors, you can literally see the skin, like the dead skin, like it's around the frame. So when the officers walk through the hallway, you're literally, as I was during the tour, you're breathing in these dead cells. And that, I have to believe that's a health hazard. I cannot believe that is not a health hazard. It is grotesque. The basement area is kind of sad. They have leaks, and they have to have 2 5-gallon buckets to hold the water, and they have to have another large plastic container. They don't even have proper storage for their file. It's so small. Like in a hallway, when they have programming, it's a very narrow hallway. And so if they have any type of programming, whether a religious service or the teacher comes in, it's in just a very narrow hallway. Once again, that's a safety issue. There's a whole lot of other things. I want to really try to go through this. One of the things too that's kind of comical almost to me is like the cell doors are so old that were built in 1967. If the door mechanism fails, it's welded. You can't really repair it. You have to take all the inmates out of the cell, move them to another cell. Hopefully you're going to have something open for them. Then you're either going to have to call one company that's left out of Texas. Okay, you're going to have to call them to come in, which is very expensive, or you're going to have to do the whole new frame and put a whole new door in. God forbid that everybody's jammed up and there's a fire in there, and like the inmates or staff are in there. One of the things I want to talk about too is like the millage real quick. I know nobody likes to pay the extra money. I mean, who does? The mill's going to start out at 2.25, but at the end of 2022, 1.1 mils will fall off the books, leaving a net effect of 1.15 mils. So there's that. Basically, my conclusion, that at least that I come to conclusion is, this is outdated, it's unsafe. There's also a lot of other safety issues that are extremely problematic. However, I'm not going to go into detail about that for the safety of the staff, but I caught a lot of things which I won't even discuss in public because for fear of somebody gets a hold of it, this information for nefarious reasons. But there is other safety issues as well, believe me. I met all the staff, I explained why I was there, I talked to all of them, and I have great respect. They're hardworking, they're dedicated professionals, they're making the best of what they can work with. You know, there's a whole lot of reasons why we need a new jail cell, but the first and foremost, for the safety of these trained and dedicated professionals, we need a new jail. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. One other quick note I want to end. I want to thank Paul Erickson for his work in this, and also for his work in the other areas as well as a commissioner. You know, I don't extremely know him too well. I like to think I'm a pretty decent judge of character. And I think Paul Erickson is a man of honor, integrity, faith, and dedication. And you know what? This county is better off for having Paul Erickson as a commissioner. He serves the county well, and we are blessed to have this man as a commissioner. And I would like to take this opportunity.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, this will be our last public comment.
I'd like to make a few comments, I'll make it quick. Myself, I'm not very happy about using taxpayers' money to pay for this recall. Then the comments that was made last time, this board isn't for the people, you guys wouldn't be sitting there, for one. And then somebody made the comment that did you ladies learn a lesson? Well, yeah, a lesson needs to be learned. The people need to stay involved in the township for all the right reasons. Quit blaming these people for your sleeping. We would have never met these fine businessmen if you guys would have probably showed up. That's all I got to say.
Okay, is there any? I can't see who's in the back. Oh, you, with the hand, yep, you.
Hi, my name is George Sadler. I'm running for the Oceana County District before the new district here, guys. We own a business, and my wife, Christy, and I, we own Christie's Poorhouse. I'm a pilot for American Airlines for 37 years. October 1st this year, I'm done. Can't fly anymore, that's an FAA thing. My big thing is, I'm not a politician, I've never been a politician, I'm not here to be a politician. But we have to hold these people accountable, because do we need a $30 to $35 million jail? Yeah, I agree we need one, but do we need one right now? Absolutely not. And now is not the time to build a $30-some million jail. We need to put our money into the officers. As you know, all across the whole United States, there's a shortage of officers. The guy pulls his knife on you, you shoot him, they want to send the officer to prison for life. We need to put the money and pay for the officers, work on this, get the jail coming, but we don't need to do it right now. This is the highest time ever for construction costs, guys. If you want to build something, you can't pick another time ever that it's been so high to build a jail. I support the sheriff. We do need a jail. We just don't need to do it right now. We need to put the money in wages for these officers. We need to have the very best officers there are, because eventually there aren't going to be any more guys, and we're going to run out of officers. So that's my 2 cents in it. I'm going to stick around if any of you want to talk. I'd appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. Is there any board discussion? No? If not, a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, one. Jim had.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Jim Draper on 184th Avenue. I piggyback on Mr. Sadler's opinion there too, and I also talked to the sheriff about the jail situation and asked him basically his jail's totally full of felons. I said, should some of these guys be in prison? And he said, just gave me an example, 3 DUIs in Oceana County gets you 10 months in our county jail, 3 DUIs in Muskegon County gets you in prison. So that's a big issue there. And I'd also like to bring up an ugly fact that moved into the community. So a few months ago, a lot of you guys were here during a public hearing. The guy that runs a marijuana operation at 200th and Yonker got belligerent with the Denver Township supervisor, telling him to step out to the parking lot with him. Sheriff Nast had to step in and get in the drug dealer's face to shut him down. At the last meeting, the guy that runs the R2My marijuana facility threatened township residents, stating that if the residents voted to a referendum to get rid of the commercial marijuana, he would lash out with any means necessary, probably legal. After meetings, it's normal for residents to get heckled by the marijuana dealers. The township board members not only turn a blind eye to this behavior, but encourage it with their own volatile actions. Tensions are extremely high. I mean, the last meeting, Sheriff Mast was like, is it okay for me to leave? We take these threats very seriously and are appalled by what is being done here. I would hope that the threats would never be acted upon. That would be horrible. But if they are, I myself and other residents are prepared to defend ourselves with any means necessary. To quote you, Kyle, probably legal.
All right,
His comments are mischaracterizations and are shameful, and you could just keep them to yourself.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I would love to know what drugs we are selling.
Marijuana, narcotics.
Is that, yeah. How do you see that being a drug?
You're gonna let this continue?
Okay,
No.
so we have,
I make a
excuse me.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
And I second it.
Motion by Conley, supported by Robertson to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0.
Okay.
Peggy Rumsey, can I talk to you for just a second?
She heard that? Yeah.